and welcome to Something to Talk About. I'm Linda McNamee, and for the next hour, we are going to get kind of electric and talk about igniting mommy energy.
That's awesome.
We are pre-recorded this evening, so unfortunately you will not be able to call in. However, you can always email me at talk@bcattv.org. So if you have a question about this evening's program, or if you have a suggestion for a future topic, definitely send me a note, because my email box is filled with spam and I would really like a legitimate email. So anyway, I would like to thank the crew for this evening, thank the staff members here. Corey McNeil and Mike Duvall are staff members, and they help keep the place running. And I would like to thank Colleen Moore and Brandy Sales. I almost screwed up Brandy's name. Sorry, Brandy. Who are volunteers here just like me, and they help try to make me look good, although I think that's an impossible task.
Oh,
but they come here and give up their Wednesday evenings to participate and help grow the community. And I would like to thank my husband Paul, who is home with Gwyneth and Evan for Daddy Date Night, and hopefully it's going to be a nice quiet evening, because it was a very loud day. And now I would like to introduce Liz McGrory, who is author extraordinaire, or soon to be author extraordinaire.
Yes.
Who you have written a book about igniting mommy energy.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I have.
And you are a working mom career coach.
Mm-hmm.
And we were talking about it earlier. You were on show number 2.
I was, yes. I was blessed and honored to be here then, and I am thrilled to be here with you tonight, too.
Thank you so much for coming. So for people who haven't tuned into every episode of Something to Talk About, can you kind of refresh our memories? Where you grew up, how, where you went to school, how you came to the Burlington area, and why your career kind of went into the path of a career coach.
Sure thing.
And then how you became an author.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
So I grew up in Chelmsford, born and raised there. I went to school down in Dartmouth at UMass Dartmouth, and majored in business information systems.
Now, was it UMass Dartmouth when you went there? Because now it's called, or it used to be like Southeastern or something?
The acronym escapes me, but you're right, okay. It did used to be named something else.
Okay,
yep.
So UMass Dartmouth.
Yep, and I became a computer geek and enjoyed it. For the next decade, I was in tech support in mostly senior roles. Oh, wow. And I loved it. Like, I really liked going in, solving problems, plus I was customer service, so I got to talk to people all day long.
So did you kind of focus on the software part or hardware, or just like customer support? So
it was a little bit of both. Hardware is sort of easy for me, and software is very complicated, so I always dove into that. I needed to be very interested, and things need to be going at a very fast pace, and the software that I supported was such. Yeah, I liked it for a while, but then I got burnt out.
For a while.
Yes, and then hence comes in this new career path of being a working mom coach. But how I came to the Burlington community was I worked at Sun Microsystems down the street from here, which is no longer there. And I left there and I started at a company in Chelmsford called Access Communications, and I was there for the other half of that decade.
Okay.
And moved.
Still doing the same kind of work?
Yes, yep, tech support in both. And moved to Billerica. So I am down the street from here. And so yeah, I've been there for the last 8 years.
Wow.
As of a few weeks ago. Yep, we celebrated our 8th house anniversary, if there's such a thing. Okay, sure.
I celebrate, the anniversary of the signing of all the paperwork.
Yeah, big. Yeah, it's a huge to do.
Writer's cramp.
Yeah, right. Oh gosh, feels like it was just yesterday. Anyways, so when I was at Access, we started to grow our family, and I had a boy, Luke, who is now 6, Lily, who is now 4. And Liana, who is now 1. So the last time I was here, I was 7 months pregnant with her. And it was hot in here.
Now it's just hot outside.
Cool. Yeah, it's wicked hot outside. And in the midst of all that, and in the midst of becoming a working mom, I had a lot of struggles with it. And I was also struggling to find my way career-wise, because I had loved what I had been doing, but then something just sort of turned off.
Yeah, I remember, I don't know whether it was in our last conversation or in your book, but you talked about you don't like the term balance.
Oh, yeah.
But trying to find the combination that works between the career and being a mom and, career and family.
Yes, I think that the word balance is something that the media invented to make everybody feel guilty for not having it. I detest it.
What do you prefer?
I like work-life choices. Because I think it is all about the choices that you make.
Definitely.
Jack Welch had a great article in which he says there is no such thing as balance. It is all about the choices that you make. And I was like, finally, that is something that I can relate to.
Yes.
Balance, forget about it. Choice, I got that. And then I just went with it. And after I had my first daughter, Lily, that was when it was just like the pinnacle point. I had worked my tuchus off trying to get to the next level of my career and thought that I was going to return back from my second maternity leave. I was going to have a promotion. The promotion wasn't there. Yeah, the other guy got it, and I'm glad he did, because if none of that had happened, I wouldn't be sitting here with you tonight.
Again, it's the choice.
It was the choice. Although at the time it wasn't my choice, because I wasn't chosen, but things do happen for a reason. And even though sometimes I don't like that phrase because you don't want to believe it, excuse me, it's the truth. So anyways, because I didn't get that promotion, my company, who was a great place to work for, they hired a leadership coach for me.
Oh, okay.
And after being coached by him for 8 beautiful months, although it was beautiful, but it was a lot of hard work.
Oh, yeah.
And it was a lot
because sometimes, the truth isn't real pretty, so.
Yeah, looking in the mirror takes a lot of energy. Yeah, we'll get to that.
Little light bulb going on.
Yep. So, in the midst of getting coached, I started to think about what it was that my life was missing. So my career, that's not going the way I really wanted to go. And my family, I'm just learning about how to be a mom, and I hadn't figured anything out yet, right?
There needs to be an instruction book on that.
Where is it?
I don't know. That and how to cut infants' fingernails.
Oh my gosh.
Somebody wants to be successful in business. Open up a salon where you trim infants' fingernails and toenails.
I would totally
hire
bring my kid there. It's such a struggle. My husband will not do it. He never did it with any of the kids. I cut Lily's finger, like a little bit of it.
I think I cut off the end of Evan's finger once.
Bloody murder. That was awful. Well, anyways, so that was a really good tangent. I liked it, though.
I'm queen of tangents. That's why I have my cheat sheet here, because I am the queen of tangents.
I like it. So, what was I saying? So, while I was being coached, I started to think about what would it take for me to be happy, or how could I get myself into a state of joy? And I realized I had lost touch with a lot of friends, so I started getting on Facebook, and I started, and I was like really on Facebook, where before I didn't really care for it. Didn't really care about social media. But then I just started posting like just random thoughts that come to my head, and people liked it. They laughed at it, and people said, "You should start a blog." I said, "All right, that sounds fabulous. I'll start a blog."
What's a blog?
Didn't know, but I was a computer geek, so I was like, "Hey, I like to write, and I guess I'm sort of funny, and I can figure out how to buy a domain, web hosting, and I liked software, so I could learn all that stuff." And I did. And 3 months after blogging, I thought, I'm going to write a book. And I wanted to tell the story that I had just experienced. But if I had told the story at that point in time, it would have been too raw. I would have burnt many bridges, because I was very resentful and I was very angry. But I knew that there was going to be something good that happened at the end. Like, I knew that this journey was going to be...
There is a light at the end of the tunnel.
Yes! And I didn't know how to get there, but I knew that it was going to be worth me writing all of this down. And so I did. And at the end of being coached, I became a coach. I went and got my certification at Coach U.
And weren't you like Rookie of the Year last year?
Yes. Yep. I was nominated in 2012 for Rookie Coach of the Year. I didn't win. but that's okay. Because of that, I ended up being asked to do social media for the International Coach Federation New England chapter. Okay. So I got to know the board of this this fourth largest chapter of ICF in the world. And it's been such an enriching experience. So even though I didn't win the award that year, it got my foot in the door.
Networking.
Yes. I've learned how to do that from this awesome new career path. And so then, yes, the following year I got nominated again and I won.
Yay!
Yeah, so I was Rookie Coach of the Year for 2013. And then just this past Monday, I sort of handed off the torch, I guess you could say, and I presented at the gala this year, and I handed off the torch to the 2014 Rookie Coach of the Year winner.
Now, did you have any say in who the rookie was this year? Oh, okay.
No, there was...
Kind of like the Miss America thing. Did they give you a crown?
No, but I got this cool blue plaque that I showed my daughter before I left, and I said, Mommy's going to give this to someone else because they're going to win an award like this. And I went to leave the house, and she comes running out. And the thing's glass. And she's like, Mommy, you forgot the award. I was like, no, Mama earned that. But it's down. It was a perfect way to start the night.
Did you drop it?
No.
Oh, good.
No. Jimmy and I were both like, huh?
Freeze!
My husband would stop. No, she was fine. And she's really good at, I'm in trouble. So, yeah. And then after winning that award, I happily resigned from my job. And and I also had my second daughter 2 months before winning that award. So a lot happened all at the same time. Like, had the baby, won the award, quit my job, and then I was able to really start focusing on my business, which is now blooming beautifully. And I've been able to wrap up a book that I've been working on for 3 years, and now I get to sit here and talk to you about it.
Yay! And you have 3 kids.
And I got 3 kids.
I struggle just with 2. And I keep telling myself the parent-child ratio should never be less than 1. And you have 3. Wow.
Yeah, it's a little crazy, but nap times I get a lot done. And I wake up early. I wake up at like 4:30, especially now with school coming out. But the thing is, when you're passionate about something, anything can happen.
You find the energy.
Yeah, you find the energy. It's going to be like, remember Pee Wee Herman's TV show that whenever you said
I never watched it.
You never watched it? Oh, I did.
Pee Wee Herman kind of creeped me out.
Well, at the time, he wasn't creepy. He was cool.
Oh, no, he still creeped me out at the time.
Really?
But, yeah.
Oh, I loved it. It was like the magic word, and everyone would scream when you'd hear the word energy. So all the people at home, when they hear the word energy, they can scream. It'll get their energy up.
Okay, so we talked about energy. We got that. Now, your book is entitled Igniting Mommy Energy. Can we talk about what mommy energy is, or do you want to save that for a little later?
No, we can do that now.
Okay, what is mommy energy?
Mommy energy. So let's start with mother's intuition.
Okay.
So every mother is blessed with a mother's intuition.
Like, there's something wrong with my kid.
Yeah, or just something doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
I also believe that every mother is also blessed with mommy energy.
Okay.
And what mommy energy is a precious energy source that gives a mother the ability to do everything that she needs to get done. What else can explain you being able to wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning, which is like the worst time for me to wake up. I don't know about you, but 2 o'clock, I'd take 1 and I'd take 3, but 2? Anyways, you get up at 2 o'clock, you feed the baby, change the baby, burp the baby. That's like an hour, hour and a half. And then you are miraculously able to wake up the next day and do everything that you need to get done, whether that's go to work or go and volunteer or just
For
be
me, it was
social.
3 o'clock.
It was 3 o'clock? It
Yeah.
was always 2 o'clock.
See, for me, you know, when I had my son, my second kid, I had a deal with my husband. If the kid wakes up before 3 o'clock, I will take care of it. If he wakes up after 3 o'clock, you take care of it. Because, like you said, it's an hour, hour and a half. And, you know, by 4:30, I wasn't able to fall back asleep.
Yes.
And I was just a mess the next day. So I'm just like, So.
You were a mess, but yet you were still able to get stuff done. Like, you were still able to care for your children. I think that is I think that's a blessing. I think that's a miracle.
I think caffeine had something to do with me anyway.
Wherever you can get your energy.
You're right. Yep.
But still, it's miraculous, and I don't think that we've been able to pinpoint exactly what that is. And the term just came to me one night that I was all about energy management at the time and emotional intelligence, and I don't even know. I honestly read through all my journals trying to find out where my term came from. It must have come at a 2:00 feeding. I just really don't remember. It seriously must have come at that time.
So, like, intuition is that innate ability to, like, a sixth sense type thing. But mommy energy isn't really a sense thing.
No, it's your ability to do.
It's like the Energizer Bunny.
The glorious things that you are capable of doing. And it is a miracle that needs to be.
It's like put the milk back in the refrigerator and the baby in the high chair instead of the baby in the refrigerator and the milk in the high chair type. Yeah.
Yes. And it's just putting a name to it there needs to be more attention brought to it. And it's not just, oh, she's a mom. It's like, no, there is something that is given to you by the grace of God that gives you the ability to do everything. And see, you're going like this.
I'm just laughing because, during those 2:00 feedings when my child was screaming, my husband said, they should equip new parents with a second set of arms. So you can hold the kid down and get the bottle and do this and do that and,
And at times, our husbands just throw our hands up in the air and be like, I can't do it.
Yeah.
And you are it. And the reason why you're it is because you are blessed with mommy energy.
Do you think that has to do with patience?
Oh, well, some women are patient and some aren't.
Okay.
I think when it comes to your child, it's that mommy energy that gives you the capability to do what you need to get done. The definition is simple. It's the ability to do everything that you need to do. To provide for your family, to take care of your family, to take care of yourself, to take care of everyone.
Okay.
But I honestly believe that it's just a blessing and it's precious and we need to protect it. And when you find a way to ignite it, because there's more that you can do with it, and we're going to get into that too, but for you to truly harness it and to use it and not be reactive, but to be proactive and control it, that's what I've been able to do, and that's what the book is all about.
Okay. Now, as I read your book, and we talked about this a little earlier in the show, mommy energy, staying positive, being positive, using it to work for you. Now, I suspect, after the birth of my son, my second child, I was diagnosed with postpartum depression that turned into regular depression, if you want to call it that. In hindsight, I feel that I may have had postpartum depression after my daughter, who was my first child. So I had undiagnosed depression for 2 years, then had my son and just kind of tanked even lower before getting treated. So I'm just like, I'm reading this book going, new moms, they have so much to deal with. They're completely overwhelmed. How do you even start at trying to harness this energy when you're frazzled?
I think since it's a blessing and since it's new, and just like becoming a mom right from the get-go, there's a learning curve. So I don't think things will ignite for you off the bat. It definitely didn't for me. Okay. When I tanked, although I wasn't depressed, or I know that emotionally I was at my bottom, things didn't ignite for me for a few years. Okay. And that's where a lot of this book came from.
Okay,
it's my journey.
Because I was reading it going, okay, she just had a kid, and I'm like, I was in no shape. Now maybe, but back then, no.
Yeah, I think it's, the book goes into all, like you were saying, the book goes through many emotions, and your goal to ignite it is just to be happy.
Okay.
But I think when you are in the beginning of it, you're confused.
You're
tired, you're overwhelmed.
You're angry that your husband can roll over and go back to sleep.
Yes. And in that moment, you need to feel those emotions. So I'm not saying skip to the happy part. I'm saying
why not?
I
Can't
know.
I just fast forward?
It's not fun. It's not fun because if you do that, you're cheating yourself.
Okay.
So this isn't about, what was that?
Okay. I want to find out more about this, cheating myself by skipping over all the negative parts.
No, because allowing yourself to feel that yuckiness, you're going to come out the other side a different person. So all those lessons that you're not allowing yourself to learn, maybe you're frazzled and you have so much going on and you just want to sweep it under the rug because you have to do you need to find a time, whenever that is, probably when the kids go to bed or maybe the first thing in the morning when you do have your 5 minutes of alone time, and you just need to allow yourself to feel.
My kids are my alarm clock. I'd have to do it at the other end of the day.
There you go. So and that's the other thing about writing this book that took a lot of courage for me, is that you're a little vulnerable because you're allowing yourself to feel not happy, because our default emotion is joy. So giving yourself that space to just feel it and be in that moment. They say living in the moment, for being mindful.
Okay.
That's something that moms just need to allow themselves to do, because it worked wonders for me when I realized that's what I needed to do.
Okay, now we talked about this a little bit, about the term balance, but I'm also thinking, like when I was reading your book, you mentioned something about a long-term or life path. Sometimes that path, you think you're going in this direction and you end up going in that direction. And sometimes it's society telling you need to go this way. You need to graduate from college. You need to get married. You need to buy a house, and you need to have your first kid you need to be married by 25. You need to have your first kid by 30. And, life is supposed to be perfect by the time you're 35. Well, that didn't happen for me. So how do you... what advice can you give women in general that sometimes what society dictates isn't necessarily what's right for you? And how do you find what is right for you?
I think that American dream of, getting married, having the house, having the children, and having the career, I think that's an old dream. I don't really know that many people that get that. I think it just, sometimes it breaks up, or you do get that dream and you're like, this is a dream?
Well, I still think there are societal norms,
You know what I mean, though?
Yeah.
Like, it's not really a dream. It's the people look at it and they're like, oh, you have it all. What I would tell women, so not just mothers, is if you're in that spot and you're just feeling about it, find something in that moment that would just give you a breath, that would just give you an ounce of happiness. So for me, when I was at that rock bottom, there's a fly in my face.
Yeah, there is a little bug in here.
When I was at that rock bottom, I thought, what do I like to do other than take care of my children? And this is going back to mothers, not just women, but what do I like to do other than taking care of the house? And it was, I like to garden. Like, you wouldn't know that looking at my yard. Oh my gosh. And I like to run, and I hadn't ran at that point for like 4 years.
Wow.
So I started doing those things. It doesn't take that much effort to walk out the door. I don't really need gardening gloves, but I like them because I don't like bugs. But to go out there and just pick a few weeds. And doesn't it look beautiful after you pick some weeds? So my advice, to reiterate, is just in that moment, find something that makes you happy.
Okay.
Because when you do that, doors start to open. If you're stuck, everything is closed. Nothing good is going to happen because you constantly feel that nothing's working. I'm not quite sure what I should do. I feel stuck, and nothing's going to come at you. Your brain's not going to be opened to anything.
Okay.
So just find that little
kind of like the proverbial rut, kind of.
Yes.
So you need something to break
out.
it. Yeah.
Yep.
Just igniting mommy energy. You need something to break the current.
Yes, break the current.
Break the
I like that.
Break the current.
I'm going to use that, Linda. I like that.
Does that mean I get an autographed copy of your book?
You totally do. Next week.
Next week. Okay. Remind me when we have a couple minutes left. I want to find out how I can get my copy of the book.
Okay, sounds good.
But now I have a question here on my cheat sheet about mommy tracking, and that's a phrase that you used in your book. What is mommy tracking?
So your career is
Hunting down your mother. No.
No. So your career is going how you expected it to go, how you've been planning because of your education, if you have it, and the experience that you've put so much sweat and tears into. And then a child comes along. And your career is still sort of going on that path, but it wavers a little because your energy is now dropping because you can't really now commit that 100%
Well, you're dividing your time
anymore.
too. You have new priorities or additional priorities.
Yes, it is all about priorities. So mommy tracking is realizing those priorities. Thank you for that. It's all of a sudden your career is not your first priority anymore. So to mommy track it, you have to get off that track that you were on, because your priorities now include your children, your husband, the home, and everything that entails in that, the laundry, the cleanliness,
Everything
the daycare.
that comes with the family.
Yeah, so you have to get off that track, and what society calls it is mummy tracking. And I was guilty of that, and that guilt, you feel awful because you're not part of the team anymore. You're not giving your 200% because I was a very giving individual. And
plus, it seems like a lot of jobs and a lot of companies now expect you to put in the 60 to 80-hour work weeks and be available 24/7.
Yeah, I hope that we're at the beginning of a curve that people are realizing.
I think, I do think that companies are starting to,
like the wellness programs that are coming out,
and
that
a lot of flex time.
Yeah, flex time. I've been invited to companies to give my program Hurry Down Now, which is about time management, energy management, and it's part of their wellness program because they realize that they need to invest in their employees, not just their particular career track that they're on, because we all have families, even dads. I mean, they miss their kids too, and their priorities change too, because now we're co-parenting. It's not all on the mother's shoulders. So, but mummy tracking still exists because it's yourself that you're looking at that track. It's not necessarily your manager or the company as a whole. You just had this idea that this was going to be my track. But now I have to go this way wholeheartedly because you got little ones at home that have your heart. So your heart is now cut in two. And how do you keep both feet in the same? And that's where the stupid phrase, I don't like the word stupid, my children would yell at me right now if they heard it.
Mom, you don't say
that word. But it's not about balance. It's about choosing which one is right for the priority at the moment.
Okay. Now, another phrase that you used in your book was the resentful, depressed working mom.
Oh, yeah. That was me.
That was you.
That was me.
Describe, elaborate, whatever. Expand.
Resentful. I was angry at the world because my track was going this way. And even though I had my mummy tracked, I had done everything in my power to bring that track as close together as possible. I mean, like, that was my all. Like, that was, and that's not having it all. I mean, that was like everything I had in me. That was it. And it wasn't good enough. And that
good enough
was
to whose standards, though? Yours or
the company's?
Okay.
And I still understand their decision, and I'm still happy that everything happened as it should.
But at the
time, I was angry, and I am a very happy person. So for me to experience anything, and that's the reason why I wrote the book, because I figured it's a strength of mine that I'm always optimistic and very joyful. So when I knew that I was resentful, I was like, this just feels awful. Like, I could not live my life.
And your husband's probably going, I want my wife back. I want Liz back.
Everyone saw it. My parents saw it. My brother saw it. And it just took time to get out of it. And I had to realize that a lot of other things had changed in me. A lot of other things had changed around me. And then that track, and it really wasn't it. And then I had to let go of it.
And you became the, confident, joyful working mom?
Yes.
Now, how long? Okay, well, after you go through what
it took
a confident,
a long time.
joyful.
Is that where you were headed?
Yeah, I'm like, how long does it take, or how long did it take you? Because I realize that everybody, it's going to be a different, a different journey, a different process. But
so all of everything. So the resentfulness happened in 2010.
Okay.
And I enrolled in Coach U in 2011, graduated in 2012, and resigned in 2013. So I didn't really become a confident and joyful until I was able to forgive and forget. So that probably took a year.
Okay.
Only because my priority was a lot about my family. Like my daughter was colicky. And so family just took up a lot of my time. So it took a while.
Plus the term colicky, and that's one of the terms that I don't like. That's their catch-all for, you have a cranky kid. Oh, he's colicky. It's like, no, he screams for 6 hours straight.
Right?
Yeah.
And that takes a lot of energy.
Yeah, it really is. I tried going back to work after maternity, and I lasted 3 weeks because I had a colicky baby. Anyway,
so to answer your question, things like this don't happen overnight. So realizing the emotions that you're feeling in the moment, I think just coming to that awareness that something just doesn't feel right, that will give you a little blip of joy.
Okay.
But to get to go through the evolution that I talk about in my book, it took me 3 years. But it all had to happen. It had to happen. And if it didn't, gosh, looking back on it now, it wasn't pleasant. But I am confident now in what I provide my clients. And I am happy with my family. I am happy with my business. And I only see things going onward and upward. I know that sounds very optimistic and
you're
Disney.
Not quite happy with your garden, though.
My garden looks awesome.
It does. Okay.
Now it looks great.
I should send you over to my house.
No, I don't have the time.
No.
I did think about it.
I'm the accidental gardener. I just plant stuff and see what grows.
I'm like that too. It's just the weeds thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing that I start to lack after a while. But anyways, I digress.
We digress again. How do you become aware of your emotions? A lot of times you kept saying, checking in with your emotions, checking in. Well, how often do you do that without, needing psychological help or, without sounding obsessive, I guess?
So when I learned about emotional intelligence, which is, it was discovered by Daniel Goleman, and he says that it's becoming aware of your emotions and separating yourself from them so that you can see how it's affecting you and not acting on them.
So
this takes
see the
practice.
Forest through the trees type thing?
Yes. And it's also about being able to motivate yourself in the face of adversity, if that's the right term, but motivate yourself to get yourself beyond that point.
Okay.
And on top of that, emotional intelligence
there's more.
is about also being aware of what other people are feeling around you. Because the vibe that you're giving off is affecting everyone else around you, and their vibe that they're giving off is affecting you.
Kind of like smiles are contagious, or yawns are contagious.
Yes. So to answer your question, how do you do it? It takes practice and it takes commitment, and it's asking yourself, hey you, how are you feeling right now? Like I remember a specific time when I started really getting into emotional intelligence. I was walking into the kitchen with someone, and I was complaining about something, and I just stood still, and thank God this woman knew me very well, and I was like, what is wrong with me right now? Why am I angry? And I was like, oh, that's right. I just got off the phone with so-and-so, and he did la, 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 and he was a troubled customer for me.
Okay.
And I said, he's what's making me mad. I'm like, okay. And then it went, and the woman just laughed at me. She goes, how'd you do that? I'm like, why am I going to let him interrupt my day? I was having a really good day today. It was Friday. I had just had a bagel. Life was good.
I just had a bagel. I love that. I just had a bagel.
Good. And then that was it. I once I knew that what was making me upset, it didn't matter anymore because he's not a priority of mine. He doesn't affect the work that I was going to be doing for the rest of the day. He wasn't worth the energy. So, did I answer your question?
I think so. Well, how often, do you
How
wait
often do I
until
do
there's
it?
like, do you wait until there's like a
There's like a buildup usually.
okay.
Because it's usually one thing starts it. If you think about it, think about a time
Okay.
when you were like upset. And
Okay.
something else just sort of
This
happened.
afternoon in the car with my children.
Yeah, yesterday in the car with my children. Yes. And something else happens, and then something else happens, and then and I'm not saying just anger. It could be sadness. Just things start piling up on top of one another. And when you're in the muck of
So
it,
kind of like the snowball building, and then all
yeah,
of a
the
sudden
avalanche.
it hits a brick wall and the snow scatters everywhere. That's like that. Wait, hold
yes,
on.
what just happened?
Yeah.
Why am I like this? Like,
Yeah.
is it really worth my energy right now? Like, what was it? Oh, this happened with this child. And that happened with that particular client. I should have done something like this. And then when it gets down to the nitty gritty, it's, oh, that was it. Really? That was it? Why? Why did I let it get me that upset? But it's because you got into that negative mood and that everything piled on top of it. So I guess to answer your question, how often should you check in? It's your own intuition, not necessarily mother's intuition,
Okay.
but just starting to practice it. It's the mindset, I guess.
Okay.
Just say to yourself, hey, you know what? I'm going to be more cognizant of what's going on in me instead of me being...
Before you get the runaway snowball, as soon as it starts to build, hold on.
Yes.
Wait a minute. Why am I going down this path? Okay, I get it now.
Cool.
Now, what happens though? I mean, you now, after this whole process, are able to look at yourself and have the energy. Well, what happens? Sometimes, I have down here that sometimes women just don't have any energy to spend, and they have those negative emotions, and they can't refocus.
What do you do?
Yeah, what do you do?
You're just stuck.
Yeah.
Sleep. Go to bed.
Take a nap.
Not even. Just when the kids go down for the night or when
Okay.
you come home from work, be like, honey, you got the kids tonight.
Yeah.
And just sleep. Your
Hopefully
body,
you have that option.
but whatever you have to do, just go to bed. Like my mother would always say, go sleep on it.
Okay.
Go sleep on it. Don't you feel better
okay.
when you wake up in the morning? Unless you've had
Usually.
like this awful nightmare. And I don't think it's just a nap. I mean, a nap's going to give you energy to keep on doing what you need to be doing, but it's not going to ignite your mummy energy.
Okay.
But a good night rest to sleep on whatever emotions is going on. Something else I would also recommend is writing down everything that's going on at that moment. So any what ifs or any
Okay.
shoulds, anything that just is making you feel drained,
Okay.
write it down on paper. There's something miraculous about putting your
Kind of
thoughts to paper
therapeutic. Yeah.
to just let it go.
Let it go.
I love
Let
the
it go.
song. I love it. So just writing it down and then hitting the sack and just
Yeah, okay.
zonking out and just let it go. And keep doing
I
that.
won't break out in a song this time.
No,
Let it go.
I'll keep
go.
sneaking it in.
I'll
and
build a
if-
snowman now. Sorry.
So if that doesn't do the trick, like maybe the next
Okay.
day you still wake up and you're just still like, you need to find something that makes you happy. Maybe it's that cup of coffee. And I'm not saying just wake up and make yourself a cup of coffee. I'm saying wake up, brush your teeth, wash your face, comb your hair, and know that that is what you're doing. You may still be half asleep, but just try and be mindful. This is what I'm doing. Open up the coffee container
Okay.
and smell it. Make the coffee. Grab your cream, honey, sugar, equal, whatever.
Kahlua. No.
Smell it, Bailey's.
Joke. Yeah.
Smell
We'll tell you a
it.
joke about that pig.
Listen to the spoon tinkering around in the cup. What you're doing is you're being mindful and you're not thinking about that rain cloud hanging over your head.
Okay.
And you are just there. And then you're about to take that first sip of coffee. That feels good. That's a good way to start. If you drink coffee.
If you drink coffee.
Maybe it's a cup of tea. Maybe it's, my dad's really into lemon water. Have you heard of that? It's supposed to give you just as much energy as coffee.
Really?
Yeah, I can't try it yet. I'm not there yet. He also told me to do meditation, or he told me to meditate when I was like 15 or 14, and I was like, Dad, you don't know what you're talking about. And now I meditate. Dads and moms are always right.
Oh, gee.
Yeah.
Okay, and now in that answer, you touched upon another question that I had about the importance of journaling. Now, is it just to kind of, without breaking into song, let everything go and get everything out of your system, just like a release? Or do you find yourself going back and looking at what you've written? And how often do you look back, and what do you look for?
I have made it a habit that it's something that I like to do. So I like waking up in the morning and having a cup of coffee, grabbing my journal. I happen to have a favorite pen that's an ICFNE pen, International Coach Federation, New England. Okay. It's just something about the pen. I love it. And I enjoy writing. And I don't always write about stuff that's wrong. I write about, I had an awesome day yesterday. Like
stream of consciousness type?
Yeah, yes. Like anything good that happened the day before. Or maybe I had a great business idea and I write about that. So it's not always about anything negative going on. There may be one or two sentences in there.
Now, do you physically write it, or do you sit on a laptop, or what do you suggest?
My blog has also sort of become a personal blog. Because it's lessons that I've learned that I pass on to others. So when I get a real good thought, I may journal, like write it out, and then I'll go back, or then I'll go to my computer and I'll type it out. Or if I'm in my car and I'm by myself, I'll do a voice memo and I'll talk into my phone. So whatever works for you, writing, talking into your phone, or typing it on the computer, it is a release. Do I go back and read the stuff that I wrote? No. I didn't actually do that. Maybe I'll flip back like a few pages, but time is precious, right?
Yeah.
So I had a reason to go back and read all my journals because I wanted to figure out where I got the term mommy energy from, which is the reason why I do think it was a 2 o'clock feeding, because I never wrote about it.
Because you were too busy doing other things at 2 o'clock in the morning, like, you know.
Yes, all that good stuff.
Trying to feed your kid and dealing with an explosive diaper. Okay, TMI.
Yeah.
Okay, now, you kind of alluded to this earlier about a support system. You know, your family all knew that you weren't happy in your current job. How important is a support system? How do you go about finding a good support system? And how do you utilize that support system? I know that's
a great question. I got it. I think it's very important. I think that a working mom can have it all, and I believe she can do it all, but she should not do it all by herself. I think that's when people hit that breaking point, that they just go ballistic because they just can't. Yes. In my Hurry Down Now program, I talk about the 5 W's for building a support system. So the who is who will know how to support you when you ask them to support you. So they're not going to judge you when you talk to them and you spill it out. They're not going to, they're going to hold you accountable, but they're not going to hang anything over your head to be like, well, you said, you know, blah, 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 blah. They're just going to be there for you in the drop of a hat. So the who, the what specifically do you need help with? Is it something with the kids? Like, what area in your life do you need help with? I'm sure it's not all of it. We're all capable adults, hopefully. But you need to know what your what is. So you know who your who is. You know what your what is. Who, what, where. Where in the day do you need help? Is it in the morning? Maybe you're not a morning person. I am. Surprise, surprise. Maybe it's at night. You're not. I'm so a morning person. Or maybe at night. Or is there a certain time of the week? Is there a certain month in the year? The more concise you are, the more your who in your support system will be able to support you. So who, what, where, when. Did I get them all? why, who, what, wait.
There were two whats.
Who, what, where, when, where in your life, when in time do you need it, and the why. So, okay, I got it, right?
Okay.
I got them all?
I think
so the why. The why is probably the most important. And the why is probably what stops people from using their support system. Because this is when you actually have to ask people for help. And this is you being vulnerable. And no one likes to be vulnerable. Except for my idol, Dr. Brene Brown, who wrote the book Daring Greatly. I highly recommend it.
Okay.
She was a speaker at the Mass Conference for Women 2 years ago.
Ooh, okay.
And being vulnerable, no one feels comfortable doing that. And you need practice at it. So if you know specifically why you need help,
okay.
you're better able to articulate it, and your who is better able to reciprocate with whatever you need.
Okay.
And also in that why, you also need to be what goes around comes around. You need to be able to listen to your who tell you why they need help. So not only should they be there for you, but you need to be there for them.
Payback.
Yes.
Well, sounds kind of
No, but you
crude that way, but
You're
you also
right.
want
It
to make
is
sure you find
payback.
positive people too, because in the past I've hung out with people that they only find the negative and they only see the negative, and it kind of drags you down.
drains your energy.
And exactly. So it's like, no, I don't want this person in my support system because they're just going to keep me down. I need somebody to focus on the positive.
Yeah, don't be afraid to change it up, because you change as an individual too, right? I mean, your values don't change, but your priorities do. And maybe you discover something new about yourself that all of a sudden you do see those people as a downer. So don't be afraid to kick them out.
Oh, I like that idea, especially if they're family. No, I have a very good support system.
Oh, that's
especially
great.
with my family.
That's
So,
beautiful.
And
Me
I
too.
get
I'm
along great
blessed.
with my in-laws. I know it's not a requirement, but it's very helpful.
Yes, I agree. Actually, one more thing to that for
sorry.
your support system. No. This time of year is a great time to find a babysitter, because they are going, I know in Massachusetts they do, I don't know anywhere else, they are going to their babysitting course right now. This is the time of year that they do it because it's the summer. So you may have 11-year-olds going door to door, handing out flyers because they just took their babysitting course.
They
just got trained in CPR. Did you get that when you were younger?
No.
Oh, I did. I remember it. I was in the library at my middle school. I got CPR certified, and then I was the babysitter in my neighborhood.
You were the babysitter.
Well, maybe not
Wow.
the babysitter. I have a couple of girlfriends I'm still friends with, so I didn't really mean the. We shared.
One of the babysitters.
But so keep your eye out for young women going around your neighborhood, or reach out to your neighbors to find out.
Reach out to the instructor of the course and say, okay, who passed the course?
Yes, yes. So
a friend of mine actually today at Simon's Park said, I need to find a new babysitter. She says, because the ones that I have are just, no longer available. I really need to.
Yeah, they're usually hired in pairs because they're just learning,
Okay.
and they feel comfortable with coming over while you're still home. So if
Little
you want
mommy's
to
helper
go,
type thing.
yeah, yes, or if you just want to maybe just quickly go down the street to Market Basket and then come back really quick, that's what they're ideal for right now. And you only need to nap 30 minutes to feel refreshed. Although I like an hour.
I can't nap.
You can't nap?
I wake up worse than when I
You
go
were
down.
before.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a shame. Well, maybe your new outlet can be finding a young lady that will come over and watch your two children while you go down and get a pedicure.
I like that idea.
Yeah.
I like that idea. Although my daughter has come with me for pedicures. She loves getting pedicures now.
Aww.
Okay, so I digress. No, but you were talking about being a morning person. I am not a morning person, and my
Yeah.
son definitely takes after me.
Oh, really?
Little tangent. I love tangents. I have a Keurig coffee maker.
Yes.
Okay, that I make my coffee every morning. Well, he's 3 years old, loves to press the button.
Really?
Yeah, he loves to he has to make my coffee for me every morning. So he is not a morning person, and I'm like not quite awake, but functional in the morning. And you hear his door open, and these little feet patter down the hallway, comes over, turns the machine on, turns around, and goes back to bed.
are you kidding me? He goes,
absolutely serious.
He goes,
he
my
comes
job
out,
is all done here.
starts the coffee, and then goes back to bed because it's not time for him to get up yet, but he needs to make mommy's coffee. He needs to press the button.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, he's not a morning person either.
I love that story. Thank you for sharing it.
I'm sorry, I digress.
No, that was awesome. That was awesome.
Okay, now in your book you talk about anxiety levels, and I think we've touched upon it a little bit here. Two questions I'm kind of combining because we're running out of time. What is anxiety, and what are some steps that you suggest to relieve anxiety, especially unrealistic levels of anxiety?
Have you ever had a panic attack before?
I don't think so.
I've had a few in my life, and they were god awful. I was, and this is gonna sound trivial, but what happened when I had it was, my husband is from Braintree, and like I said before, I'm from Chelmsford. So every Friday night, one of us would drive to each other's houses and stay the weekend.
Okay.
And there was one Sunday night I was driving back after a awful Patriots game, and it was snowing out, like awful. And I was driving in my little Honda sports coupe, and people were driving like this far apart from each other's bumpers. And
like 70 miles an hour in the snow.
Yes, it was crazy. And it was around Christmas time because Mariah Carey's All I Want for Christmas Is You song was on, which is my favorite. But I started getting that panic attack. And that panic attack is when you just feel like you're having a heart attack, like your heart is going so quickly. You get really sweaty. Everything gets really blurry. I had my windows down. I had my sunroof open. I had it's not sun. I wish it was sun. I had snow falling on me, and I couldn't psych myself out of it. And they happened for maybe like another month after that. Like a crowded movie theater gave me one, and there was a few other ones. So I can speak from experience that anxiety is awful. And at the end of me having those panic attacks, what would help me was moving. Like I did get out of the car, and I think that's what probably helped me get myself subside the panic attack. What is just getting your blood flowing, getting yourself out of whatever's going.
It's also like a distraction too.
Yeah, just get the blood flowing and just move. And then once you get that space, ask, okay, what just set off that alarm? Like, what was it? Now that I've been able to separate myself, and this is emotional intelligence, you're separating yourself from the emotion that just occurred. And what are my options? Like, what could I do based on what I now know caused that anxiety? Because I don't really want that to happen again, right? And at the time, I couldn't figure out why, and I still to this day don't really know why those panic attacks happened. Maybe because I found the love of my life, and I knew that I was going to marry him, and that realization was coming to me. Maybe that was it. Yes, Jimmy, you gave me panic attacks. I can't believe I just admitted that on TV. Anyways, so what are your options for you to try and prevent that? Or did this anxiety attack open up things so that you realized that, hey, I have other options so that I could just take action and I wouldn't have to feel anxiety toward that? And then once you know what your options are, decide what's the next step. Okay. What am I going to do so that this won't happen again? Or what can I do to resolve whatever this is going to, or what can I do to resolve so that I can just move on and never have to experience that god-awful feeling ever again? Did that answer your question?
I think so.
Okay.
But we are almost out of time, so
no, we're not.
Relatively quickly.
Really?
Yes, we are. We're almost. So I know, and I haven't gone through there's going to be like sequels.
Yeah.
But
I'll come back.
Your book is coming out soon.
Yes, it's titled "Igniting Mummy Energy." Yep, there's the picture.
Yeah, it's
yay.
pretty.
Thank you. Kristen Jones Photography made that for me. It is coming out June 21st, the first day of summer. So that was, I know this is pre-recorded, so it was this past Saturday.
Like now.
Right? Yes, now it is out. It is on Amazon. It will be in paperback form, as well as in Kindle format. Okay.
And you said you also had plans for a second edition, so just kind of touch upon that too.
Yep, so this first edition is my personal story. So the book covers 6 emotions. First, it talks about what mummy energy is.
Which we never got to talking about, but that's okay.
No, that's okay. And it talks about what motherhood transition challenges are, or MTCs. MTCs is the emotional reaction a mother feels toward transition that is challenging for her. And that's what I coach my clients on. So I talk about how having mummy energy and having a high amount of it can help you overcome your MTCs, your motherhood transition challenges. And then it goes into emotions such as anger, sadness, anxiety, fear, guilt, and joy. And then the last chapter is about igniting the mummy energy. And within each chapter,
with a flamethrower. No.
Yes. So within each chapter, I give personal stories about how I went through those emotions. My tips on how to overcome it, a practice example, and then practice exercises for people to go through. That's my first edition. The second edition that I would like to come out with is I would love to hear from anyone that reads the book what their takeaways are and how they applied it. And I want to include as many working moms' stories in that second release.
Okay.
So that's my plan. And then after that, I'm going to go on the Oprah Winfrey Show or on the OWN channel. She's going to learn about mummy energy.
And she'll give away the book to everybody.
To everybody with a new car.
With a new car. No, she'll give you a new car.
Oh,
not that
yeah,
you need one.
That would be great. And I know exactly which one I want.
Which one?
I want an Escalade.
Ooh.
I want a red Escalade with tan interior, to the point that my children know what an Escalade looks like. I need it with 3 kids.
No, you don't want a red car, though. Red cars get hit.
They get hit?
Red car. Everybody I know with a red car has always gotten hit. Yeah.
I thought you said they got pulled over.
No.
I thought that's what you were going to say. They get hit?
They get hit.
Oh, that's not cool.
So
yes, that's my book.
Maroon.
Okay,
Maroon.
I'll go.
Maroon.
No, I really like. Well, anyways.
Fire engine red. Okay. Well, anyway, so
Yes.
Amazon.com.
Yes.
Either the electronic version or print on
Paperback.
demand.
Yes.
And be one of the first. Jump on the bandwagon. Be on the cutting edge of technology, of mummy energy.
Yes, and if you want to learn more about mummy energy, I have a weekly e-zine titled The Mummy Energy E-Zine. So head over to my website, www.lizzymc.com, and and sign up for my e-zine.
Yay! Okay. Well, thank you, Liz, for coming on. It was lovely talking to you.
Thank you, Linda.
I think you need to do like a movie version of the book because it's really fun just chatting with you about this.
That's interesting. You just planted a seed.
That's cool.
Who wants to be on the movie?
Pick me, pick me. Okay. Anyway, thank you, Liz, for joining me.
You're welcome.
And
thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in this evening. And welcome to summer. And I hope you have a wonderful week, wonderful weekend, and wonderful happy sunshine. Good night. Thanks.